So guys, I've been doing a little bit digging into our current First Minister and his ties to a certain country and a certain group within this certain country. I'm just going to go through this bit of information for you and make of it what you will. It is a long bit of information, but what I'll do is I'll cut it down and I'll read out the more important bits of this published article that was published prior to Humza Yousaf being appointed our First Minister. So the headline for this published article is "The Troubling Islamist Connections of Scotland's Next Leader." Humza Yousaf, a senior Scottish National Party politician who brought a fugitive Hamas commander to meet with Scottish ministers, worked for a radical charity condemned by Western governments for its anti-Semitism and terror ties, and advocating for progressive political Islam as the frontrunner to succeed Nicola Sturgeon as SNP leader and become Scotland's new First Minister. So we'll just scroll down the article a little bit. Yousaf first came to the public's attention in the late 2000s while serving as an aide to former SNP leader Alex Salmond and other senior party leaders at this time. Yousaf was also running the Scottish Islamic Foundation, SIF for short, along with his cousin Osama Saeed. Parliamentary questions have revealed that Yousaf and Saeed, through SIF, brought extremists to meet with our senior Scottish politicians in 2008. Yousaf organised a meeting with Scotland's Minister for Europe, External Affairs and Culture, featuring three prominent Islamists, Mohammed Sawalha, Anis Al-Tikariti and Ismail Patel. 2 years earlier, Sawalha had been named by the BBC as a fugitive Hamas commander, and indeed Sawalha later became a member of the terror group's political bureau. As for Anas Al-Tikariti, he has long served as a leader and member of the Muslim Brotherhood in both the UK and Iraq. In 2006, he reportedly praised Iraqi resistance against British and American troops in Iraq. Yousaf's involvement with Scottish nationalism served the interest of SIF in 2010. Opposing parties called for an investigation into the SNP's decision to give £400,000 of Scottish taxpayers' money to the Islamist-run group. Other Islamist groups continued to benefit from Yousaf's influence over the SNP government. In 2013, Yousaf, now elected as serving as Scotland's Minister for External Affairs and International Development, announced a £398,000 grant to the Islamic Relief, one of the largest Islamic charities in the world, established by figures from the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood. Critics claimed more cronyism was likely to work before his election to the Scottish Parliament. Islamic Relief had appointed Humza Yousaf as its media spokesperson. Yousaf's cousin, a SIF colleague, Osama Saeed, is himself a notorious Islamist operative who also once stood as an SNP parliamentary candidate in 2005. He called for the establishment of an Islamic caliphate, and in 2006, Saeed voiced praise for Al-Qaeda operatives, and a few names here that I'm not going to try and pronounce. He preached nothing but peace, and I pray he will be able to do so again. Some names again I can't pronounce. Became the leader of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula before his death by a drone strike. The extent to which Yousaf shares his cousin's extremism is unclear, although the two remain close. In 2010, Saeed left Scotland for Qatar to work for Al Jazeera, the Qatari media channel party staffed by Muslim Brotherhood operatives. During his time as an elected SNP official, Yousaf has been an enthusiastic supporter of Al Jazeera and has also boasted of his deals with the Qatari regime. So we'll just go down a little bit. during this announcement. During the current SNP leadership race, some of the current discussion surrounding Yousaf in British media has revolved around his status as a practicing Muslim and any possible conflict with the SNP's more progressive agendas. Interestingly, Yousaf himself has declared that mainstream Islam appears unfriendly to gay marriage, but has promised not to use his faith as a basis for legislating. On the face of it, these progressivist ideas and Yousaf's recent statement and behaviour do not indicate absolute evidence of continued Islamist leanings, and indeed, Yousaf has expressed some encouraging condemnations of radicalism in recent years, such as his denunciations of Islamist clerics who have praised Pakistani violent extremists. He has further urged mosques not to give platforms to their supporters in the West. Is it possible, however, that Yousaf might be a believer in the genuine confluence of Islamists and progressivism? In 2012, he declared his support for the progressive political Islam. In the same tweet thread, he praised that main Islamic party in Tunisia as an example. Yousaf should clarify his relationship with the hardline Islamists of his and SIF's past and explain what exactly he means by his support for progressive political Islam. At the very least, if Yousaf is not an Islamist, he is a fellow traveller of extremism, and indeed, as with many nationalist groups, the SNP has a history of embracing Islamist allies. Whether or not the SNP benefits from such partnerships is unclear, although in 2019 Potkin Asamea noted for the Middle East Forum that Iranian disinformation efforts appeared to be particularly focused on advancing Scottish independence ideas and advancing support for the SNP. In 2009, the Quilliam Foundation published a warning that given the news of Yousaf's cousin, Osama Said, standing as an SNP parliamentary candidate, Britain risked electing its first openly Islamist MP. Almost 14 years later, is King Charles about to appoint the United Kingdom's first Islamist head of government? So I did cut out a few bits there in the statement that was published, but make of that information what you will, guys. I don't know exactly what to think of that. If anybody wants any further information, drop me a message. I will do the digging and I will find out the information for you. Could this be part of the reason why Humza is doing what he's doing right now and why he's said what he's said? But I'll leave it up to yourselves to make of it what you will. If everybody could hit that follow button, I would greatly appreciate it, and we will see you more with new episodes coming very soon.